Story time about how this one girl bullied me so bad she tried to beat me up, but guess what? The joke was on her because my sister beat her up. I was in 8th grade and I was bullied pretty badly, but this one girl in particular who didn't like me would make my life miserable. This girl was in 10th grade and I was in 8th grade at the time. I didn't defend myself at the time. I was really just scared of everything and everyone because I got bullied so much. And my sister knew that, which is why she was always looking out for me. She always had my back. So the bully, let's call her Jackie. Jackie started leaving me mean notes in my locker. And at the time, I guess I didn't really know if it was her. It could have been many people since I got bullied by many people. And the kids in my class would group around me whenever I would go to open my locker just to see my reaction when I would read the mean things she left in the notes. So for example, she would make fun of my acne and my big lips. But it got so much worse. One day I was walking down the hallway and she comes up right behind me and spills fake blood all over my back, making it look like I had my period. I was mortified, and she did this in front of everyone when we were on break. Then in front of everyone, she says that she's gonna beat me up at lunch and that I better be there, so come back for part 2. Part 2. So Jackie the bully spilled fake blood down my back, making it look like I had my period, and then she announced to everyone that she was going to beat me up at lunch and that I better be there. The bell rings and someone tells me that she's waiting for me at the soccer field. My God, I was so scared. Of course, I wasn't planning on going, but 3 of the girls in my class literally took me by my arms and took me to the soccer field. Gosh, were they mean. And of course, there's a whole audience waiting for me. Jackie was right in the center. As soon as I get there, she starts yelling at me. And you know what I did? I asked her, "Why do you hate me so much?" She actually didn't know what to say. She stayed quiet. So I asked her, "What did I do to you?" Then she said she saw me on a commercial in our local channel and that it made her really angry. And I said, "Is that all?" Then she said that she didn't like my face either. She starts pushing me backwards. She pushed me a few times and I fell back. She was literally about to kick me when I hear my sister yelling from behind the crowd saying, "Why don't you pick on someone your own size?" The crowd parts and my sister comes through and tells Jackie to leave me alone. Then she tried to kick me again and my sister tackled her to the ground. Come back for part 3. Part 3. As Jackie the bully is trying to kick me, my sister tackles her to the ground. Well, Jackie got really scared because she was not expecting that. And my sister picks her up from the floor and throws her into a bush. Jackie starts to cry and she says that she's going to tell on my sister. Well, my sister says, "I have all the notes that you've been sending to my sister and we can compare it to your own handwriting." Guess who they'll believe? My sister took me to the principal's office and we gave her all of the notes and I told her everything that happened. So the principal went and searched Jackie's backpack. Guess what she found? Scissors and tape. Jackie confessed that she wanted to tie my hands and cut off all my hair. She got suspended from school for 3 days. When she came back, her parents took her to my classroom and made her apologize in front of everyone. If you're being bullied, speak up.
So this is a story time about how I became best friends with the girl that my boyfriend cheated on me with. So when I met this guy, we'll call him Bronson, there was an immediate attraction. He was a Sagittarius, so he was super charming, life of the party, and it didn't take long for us to start talking. Well, it turned out he wasn't totally honest with me, and he had a girlfriend. So I cut him off and didn't think twice about it. About a year later, though, he came back into my life. He reached out after his breakup with his girlfriend, and he asked if we could give things a real chance. Knowing the connection that we had, I said yes. And things were almost too perfect. We were taking cute photos for Instagram together. It didn't take long for him to move in. And we spent so much time together. He even talked about marriage with me in front of his mom. So it felt like things were going pretty smoothly. Until one night we were going to bed, his phone started blowing up. I grabbed it and it was a notification from a guy named Brad, which I thought was super weird. The texts were asking where he was and what he was doing. And eventually, I just decided to pick up the phone. And it was a girl on the other end. Stay tuned for part 2 and follow me on Insta. So here's part 2 to becoming friends with the girl that my boyfriend cheated on me with. So when there was a girl on the other end, I was like, what is this? And why are you calling my boyfriend's phone? And she was confused. She was like, "Boyfriend? I thought you were just being his supportive friend." It turns out him and his ex were still seeing each other. I was pissed and woke him up. And he had the nerve to try to tell me that she was being the crazy one. Like, obviously you've been seeing both of us. We're not that stupid. And she even sent me the screenshots to prove it. And he still had the nerve to deny it. I kicked him out of my house and we didn't talk for a while. Until one day he managed to work his way back in. I, being stupid, forgave him and decided to try things again. It happens to the best of us. Things seemed okay again, but he told me during our time apart he was couch surfing and he didn't actually have a place to stay, like he was just homeless. So I offered to let him live with me again. That night that he moved back in, I received a call from his ex. We'll call her Ashley. And Ashley goes, no, he's been living with me this entire time. Stay tuned for the last part.
Story time, my pickiest client. So this one time I had this one client, let's just name her Tracy. And the first thing I like to do is show my clients all the colors I have so they can start picking it out. Now Tracy was very picky. Out of all my 200 colors, she couldn't pick a single color. And then she requested if we can mix up a couple colors so she can basically create her own color. Me being nice, I was like, okay, that's fine. I thought she was gonna make me mix one color, but we ended up mixing 5 custom colors for her, which took a lot of time. Not only that, but she wanted a different design on each finger. And obviously this is gonna be a little pricey because not only did it take about 5 hours, and also me mixing all my material led me to wasting a lot of it. At the end of the service, she refused to pay the full amount, and her reasoning was that we grew up together and went to the same school, and then said I could use her for practice. So I clipped her nails off.
Story time about how I caught my husband cheating on me with a neighbor. My husband is a really rich guy. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. I first met my husband when I was 20 years old and he was 10 years older than me. He was basically my sugar daddy. Once I graduated college, he asked me to work at his company. I did all of the marketing. But eventually we wanted to have kids, so we decided to move to a bigger house. We ended up moving to a really secluded neighborhood with lots of rich families. One of our neighbors owned a yoga studio. There was also a young couple living across the street from us and they were also business owners. It was the perfect situation until I noticed that my husband was paying less and less attention to me. Well, I didn't hesitate to ask him why. He denied it and said that I was making things up in my head. So I installed an app in his phone that would send all of his text messages and emails straight to my phone. And guess what I saw? Text messages between him and the neighbor who owned the yoga studio. She was 10 years older than my husband, so I never saw it coming. I started collecting all the evidence into folders, pictures, and text messages. I wanted to catch him in the act. So one day I said I was going to a spa for the entire day. I was going to be at the spa all day long. I wanted to see if he was going to bring the neighbor around to cheat on me some more. When I got in the car to leave, I get a message that he sent to the neighbor. Like I said, I had planted an app in his phone, so I was receiving all the messages he was sending and receiving. And of course, he sends her a message saying, hey, my wife's going to be at the spa all day. We're free. And she replies saying, perfect, I'll come over. My stomach dropped. I drove around for a bit and waited for her to get to my house. Then I see she sends him a message saying she's there. That was my cue to go back to my house to catch him in the act. I race back and enter the house super quietly. I go into the living room and don't see anything, so I assumed they were in our bedroom. I go up to the bedroom and no one's there. And I see they're in the backyard in the pool. I pull out my phone and press record. I run downstairs and I surprise them in the act. They were both naked and my husband jumps out of the pool and wraps himself in a towel. Our neighbor stays in the pool. My husband says, I was gonna tell you, I swear. It gets worse. My husband doing dirty things in the pool with our neighbor. I'm recording all of this, by the way. He says he was gonna tell me. So I show him all the evidence that I had been gathering, all the messages and the pictures. But little did he know I had already hired a lawyer. I'd known about the affair for about a month at this point. I had already been working on the divorce with the lawyer, documenting every single transgression my husband committed against me with our neighbor. And when I told my husband, he freaked. The neighbor, aka the woman my husband was with, she got out of the pool and went home. I printed out some flyers with all the pictures she had sent my husband and spread them around her yoga studio. I now get $10,000 from my husband monthly.